Alrighty, it's been quite a while since I made some basic maths videos, those of addition, subtraction and multiplication, but now I find myself teaching Year 7 maths. So to add to those first three, here is a quick look at division. Let's start with 267 divided by 3. It may be written like this. What you're not going to do is leave it written like this. All right, a bit of terminology first up. The number that you're dividing by something else, in this case the 267, that is called the dividend. The number that you're dividing by, in this case the 3, that is called the divisor. Now when we get to our answer, let's just put equals something. When we get to that answer is called the quotient. Okay, so like in addition, the answer is the sum. With subtraction, the answer is the difference. With multiplication, the answer is the product. With division, the answer is the quotient. Right, moving on to actually solve this. As I said, we're going to rewrite it, not like that. Now, with addition, subtraction, and multiplication, we tended to stack them according to place value. It's a little bit different for division. With division, we're going to do this instead. We're going to write 267. We're going to say this, 267, and we're going to draw a little curvy and a straighty and put the 3 outside. This is how we're going to write 267 divided by 3. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to ask ourselves, how many times does 3 fit into 2? Okay, so first we look at the first digit of the dividend, and we're going to ask ourselves, how many times does that divisor fit into that first digit of the dividend? In this case, how many times does 3 fit into 2? The answer is, of course, none. It doesn't. So we can just leave that, or if you're so inclined, you could write a 0 there. Now this is going to be part of our answer. That's where our answer goes up the top. But realistically, if a number is 14, do you write 014? I'm thinking probably not. So I'm not actually going to bother writing that 0 there, because I'm not going to write a 0 in front of whatever the answer is. Now, that 3 didn't fit into the 2, so I actually have to move that 2, that digit, across to the next column. That 2 is actually going to come over and be with the 6. Now, when it does that, it's not going to be added to the 6. We're not going to have 8 now in that middle column of the dividend. Because remember, it was a place value along. That 2 is actually 10 times more. So as far as the 6 is concerned, it's actually worth 20, right? So we're just going to put a line through it. It's not there anymore. It's now with the 6, but it's not added to it. It's 26. Right, now we move to the middle column of that dividend, and we ask ourselves, okay, how many times does 3 fit into this middle column, this 26? Now this is, of course, where your multiplication tables come in handy, knowing those, because 3 8s are 24, but 3 9s are 27. So 8 of those 3s will fit, and it will leave us 2 left over. 9 of them won't fit. We don't have enough to fit 9 3s, we don't have 27. But 8 of them, sure, that will fit. So we can write the 8 there. That is actually part of our answer. Remember, the answer goes up on the top line. So what we do now is say, okay, well, 3 8s, that's 24. We still had 2 left over. So that 2 left over moves to the next column. It moves to the column of the 7, much like we did in the first place. We had 2 left over, that moved to the 6, and we had 26. Well, now I've got 2 left over. That 2 left over moves to the column with the 7, and we now have 27. And now we ask ourselves, how many times does that divisor, that 3, fit into the next column, the one with the 7? Well, in fact, it's 27 now. So how many times does 3 fit into 27? And we said just a moment earlier that 3 9s are 27, so that 3 will fit into 27 9 times. So that's what we put up on the top line as part of our answer. We put that 9 there. Now, is there anything left over? Well, no, there isn't. Our question was, how many times does 3 fit into 27? It fits 9 times. 3 9s are 27, so it fits perfectly. There is nothing left over. And so we have our final answer. Our answer is 89. 267 divided by 3 is 89. Moving on, another example. Let's have 92 divided by 4. So remember, we're going to put 92 inside this little bit of a curve and a straight line across, and then we're going to say, right, that 92 is divided by 4. That 4 is outside there. Now, our first step to ask ourselves, how many times does 4 fit into 9? Well, hopefully we're all happy with the fact that there are 2 of them, because 2 4s are 8. Can't do 3 of them. 3 4s would be 12. We don't have 12, we've only got 9. But we can definitely fit those 2 4s into the 9. Is there going to be some left over? Yes, there is, because 2 4s are 8, and we've got 1 left over. We've got 1 more. That 1 left over moves to the next column. So it moves over to the column with the 2. But remember, that 1 left over isn't a 1, it's actually worth 10, because it came from 1 place value over from the 2, so it was 10 times more, right? So it's not a 1, it is a 10, which gives us 12. Now we ask ourselves, how many times does 4 fit into 12? And again, it all comes back to sometimes just knowing your times tables. How many 4s are 12? 3 4s are 12. So we can definitely fit 3 4s into 12, and in fact, we can perfectly fit 3 4s into 12 with nothing left over. So we have our final answer, 23. 92 divided by 4 is 23. Let's look at a third example. How about 1,645 divided by 7? Let's do that one super quick. 1,645. We are going to divide that by 7. Okay, so that's how we write it. And then we ask ourselves, right, that's 7. How many times does it fit into 1? 0 times. It doesn't fit into the 1. So that 1 isn't there anymore. We move it to the next column. We put it with the 6. It now says 16. How many times does 7 fit into 16? Well, 2 7s are 14, but 3 7s are 21. So 3 of them won't fit, but 2 of them definitely will. So let's put that 2 up top. That's part of our answer. So 2 7s are 14. We had 2 left over. So that 2, we can cross that off if you want. You don't have to, but anyway, that 2 comes down with the 4. It now says 24. How many 7s fit into 24? Well, I mentioned moments ago that 3 7s are 21, so we know 3 of them will fit. What about 4 7s? Let's try that. Well, 4 7s are 28. Nope, that's too much. We don't have 28. We've only got 24. So we'll go with our 3 of them. 3 7s are 21. Those 3 of them fit. Now that gives 21, and we've got 24, so we actually have 3 left over. So that 3 can come into the column with the 5, and we now have 35. Next question is, of course, how many times does 7 fit into 35? 7 5s are 35. So we can fit 5 of them quite nicely, and in fact, that will be a perfect fit. There aren't any left over. So we write our 5 here, and we have finished. 1,645 divided by 7 is equal to 235. Using the fancy word for the answer for division, we would say the quotient is 235. Now, there are actually 2 things that I need to point out. One is this thing called long division, which some people swear by. They have a great time with it. Terrific, good for them. I myself don't really fancy it, but hey, let's have a quick chat about it. 1645 divided by 7. Let's do that one again, but this time with a bit of long division. So we have 1645 divided by 7. You'll note I've written it smaller because long division is going to take up more space. So how many times does 7 fit into 1? Well, it doesn't, so move on. How many times does 7 fit into 16? We know that it fits in twice because 2 7s are 14, and there were 2 left over, which we previously moved over with the 4, but hold up, we're doing long division. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to take that 2 that we just wrote up top, we're going to multiply it by the divisor, multiply it by the 7, so 2 7s are 14. We write that down here. We do a bit of subtraction. and we come out with 2 left over. And then the digit from the next column, in this case the 4, we bring down so that it says 24. All right, how many times does 7 fit into 24? And as we said earlier, there are 3 of them, because 3 7s are 21. We're going to multiply them, put that down here. We're going to do a bit more subtraction, and we'll come out with 3 left. 24 take away 21 is 3. And then the digit from the next column of the dividend drops down. So we have 35 now. And how many 7s fit into 35? Well, there were 5 of them. And 7 5s are 35. And we'll do a bit of subtraction. And we find, hey, there's nothing left over. Great, we've finished. We've got our answer. 235. So 1645 divided by 7 is 235. But hang on, we already got that answer previously. There it is right there, 235. Now, this is long division. It's essentially exactly what I was doing previously, except that before, instead of writing everything down the page, going down, 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 all these different steps, it's just these little numbers that I've carried over into the next column. Right? I put the 1 over into the next column to make it 16. I put the 2 to make 24. I put the 3 into the next column to make 35. Well, that's what long division does. It just shows that. It shows that extra 2 coming with the 4. It shows that extra 3 coming with the 5 to make 35. So we were really already doing it. We just weren't writing it down. Now, some people like to write all of these steps down like this. That's great, good for them. If your brain works that way, terrific. However, if you think back to addition and subtraction and multiplication, what were we doing? What were we using? We were using those little numbers as we did things like carrying over. Let's look at a very quick addition example. 89 plus 7. Right, what do we do? 9 plus 7 is 16. We put the 6, but did we write 16? No, we only put the 6 down and we carried the 1. And then we said, okay, 8 plus nothing is 8, or plus that 1 that we carried over, that's 9. So there's our answer, 96. So we've already used those little numbers. Let's do a very quick subtraction problem. How about 82 take away 6? Remember this? We said, right, 2 take away 6. Nope, can't do that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to steal from that 8. So that becomes a 7. And the 1 that we just stole is worth a 10 as far as the 2 is concerned. So that's now 12. 12 take away 6, I can do. That will be 6. And 7 take away nothing is 7. Our answer is 76. And one final example, this time multiplication. Let's do 26 times 3. Right, 3 6s are 18. We didn't put the 18 down though. We put the 8 down and we carried that 1. And then we did 2 3s are 6 plus that extra 1 is 7. So there's our answer, 78. But see, for addition, subtraction and multiplication, we have already been using these little numbers like I did back up here. Those little numbers that I just carried over to the next column. We've already been doing that with addition, subtraction, and multiplication. So in my mind, what my mind is happy with, there's no need to do this long division. Is it nice to know how to do long division? Sure, I guess. But remember, like I was saying, I kind of already was doing it. I just wasn't stepping it out all the way down the page like this. But that's long division. If you want some more practice of long division, that's great. If you like it, terrific. By all means, do that. So that's long division. But there were 2 other things I had to point out. One was long division. The other thing is, what if there is something left over? What if the numbers don't all just fit nice and perfectly? Okay, let's take a look at that. Let's do, say, 24 divided by 7. Now we know this is not going to work because we mentioned earlier that 3 7s are 21, 4 7s are 28. So this is not going to fit nicely, right? How many 7s fit into 2? None. So that 2 is done and bring it over to the next column and we call it 24. So how many 7s fit into 24? Well, 3 of them do. So we put our 3 up top. Now, 3 7s are only 21. We still have 3 left over. So what we would normally do is, okay, that 3 left over, we move it to the next column and call it like 30 whatever. But wait, there isn't a next column. So we can't do that. What we're going to do is just say, hey, you know what? I've got 3 left over. I have a remainder of 3. So 24 divided by 7 is 3 remainder 3. Now that's one way. You can talk about a remainder, a leftover, part that just didn't fit. If, on the other hand, you're happy with fractions, which you will be eventually, even if you're not yet. If you're not happy with fractions yet, 3 remainder 3. That's grand. If you can do fractions, sweet as, that 3 that was left over, remember, everything has been divided by 7. So that 3 that was left over is also divided by 7. That's 3 sevenths. So what we could write for our answer is 3 and 3 divided by 7. Okay, this 3 here, that's not divided by 7. The 21 was divided by 7 and gave us that answer to 3. But the 3 that was left over is still divided by 7. So you either write 3 remainder 3, or you take that remainder and you write it divided by the original divisor. So 3 remainder 3, or 3 and 3 sevenths. And that is division. Well, that's the video done. If you liked it, brilliant. Hit the like button and leave me a comment too. Now you know what to do. Go hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.